They say that winter is only truly winter when it is cold, but in reality, the bitter cold is hard on many people. Working in a hospital, I often see elderly patients who come in with illnesses or injuries sustained from falls as the seasons shift. Winter is especially prone to such accidents. I remember one particularly cold winter when it snowed heavily. Toward the end of that winter, an elderly gentleman, frail and standing about 180 centimeters tall, came to the physical therapy department in a wheelchair. He had slipped on the snow, broken his leg, and had surgery. The surgery went well, but the aftermath was the challenge. Because he had a cast on, he couldn't undergo physical therapy at the time, so I instructed him on what to be careful about in his hospital room and how to move safely. We agreed to meet again once the bone had healed and the cast was removed. I was honestly worried because he was 89 years old. Elderly patients often have reduced healing capacity, making even minor wounds difficult to recover from, let alone a broken bone. Recovery would certainly take much longer for him than for a younger person, and I anticipated other complications arising along the way. Even without looking, the outcome was predictable. To ensure the bone set properly, the joint had to be immobilized in a cast, which leads to stiffness and muscle atrophy. For the elderly, even a short period of immobility causes muscles and joints to stiffen. Being immobilized for months could be fatal for a patient of his age. Given these concerns, I thought he might struggle to walk. Even after the bone healed, I set my worries aside and focused on my work. Exactly 2 months later, the gentleman returned to the physical therapy department to have his cast removed and to start gait training. Fortunately, the bone had healed well, and his joint and muscle condition were better than I had expected. Before beginning the exercises, I examined his status in detail. I checked his medical charts to understand the cause and severity of his fall, as well as his lifestyle and physical condition. There was nothing unusual, save for one detail. While he didn't smoke, he had been drinking 2 bottles of vodka every day, from his early 30s until his injury. Back then, vodka was often sold in larger bottles and had a high alcohol content. He had spent the last 50 years living in a state of constant intoxication, almost to the point of being an alcoholic. I suspected that it was his intoxication that led him to slip and fall on the snowy road. Although the surgery was a success, I didn't know what might happen if he were to fall again. So I spoke to him with a serious expression. "Sir, you need to quit drinking and be careful. If you fall once more while intoxicated, it could be a real disaster." The gentleman looked thoughtful for a moment before replying, "I wasn't drinking that day. If I had been, I wouldn't have fallen." A brief, awkward silence followed. I was taken aback and didn't know how to respond, but I felt I had to say something. "Still, please try to cut back and take extra care," I said, trailing off. We then began the walking practice. At first, he struggled to move his leg and put weight on it because the joint had been immobilized for so long. But he followed the knee exercises better than I had anticipated. After 2 or 3 days, he could walk a little using a walker, and within a week, he had recovered enough to walk alone with a cane. Finally, he was discharged, walking out on his own 2 feet, just as he had wished. Since such rapid recovery is rare among elderly patients, I couldn't help but think that he must have been born with a much stronger constitution than most. As I watched him walk out of the physical therapy department, I thought back to when we first met. Given his advanced age, the prolonged immobilization, and his lack of muscle strength, I had truly believed he would never walk again. Yet despite those disadvantages, he had improved as much as he wanted and walked out of the hospital. My thought for him was wrong. Every patient improves only as much as their physical therapist treats them, or more accurately, as much as the therapist believes they can, because we treat them based on what we believe. Thanks to this gentleman, I was reminded of this simple truth. I whispered a small word of thanks to him. "Thank you for getting well enough to walk on your own. Please stay healthy."